Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome to the demo for Norse Oath of Blood by Arctic Hazard and Tripwire Presents, which, if I had to describe it in a single sentence, I would say is a cinematic, narrative-driven, turn-based tactical squad-level strategy game with elements of an overarching colony management sim. Slightly outside of my usual comfort zone. You know, I'm not huge into Nordic mythology. I'm more of like a Greek mythology or generic high fantasy kind of guy. And goodness knows I haven't really touched much in the way of colony sims in years now. But, you know, I certainly enjoyed the heck out of this demo, so I figured it was worth sharing. In particular, I've got to say, I'm really impressed with the production values on the cinematic narrative, though the turn-based tactical gameplay is certainly no slouch either. That said, we're about a minute deep, so we should be relatively safe from YouTube's auto scanners at this point. Let's jump right in. We'll kick the oars, so to speak, take this longboat for a ride, and y'all can tell me what you think. Norse Oath of Blood by Arctic Hazard and Tripwire Presents. Here we go.
It is a strange crew that sails from Kaupang and the safety of Jarl Egil's hall and spears. Outcasts and renegades all, and yet the seeds of a fellowship, taking the sea road in search of new land in which to grow. No one would expect the gods to cast an eye upon this little vessel making its way along the ragged coast. Perhaps that is just as well, thinks Gunnar. For he needs time, silver, reputation. Like a smith in his forge, he must nurture the fire in his heart. It takes time to make a new blade. Who knows what they will find at the end of this journey? A man cannot see what weird the Norns have spun for him. But Gunnar knows this. When he is ready, he will draw the eye of Odin himself. He will have his revenge, and the benches in Valhall will groan beneath the weight of all the warriors that he will send to the Allfather's hall.
Indeed.
Gunnar! This is the place!
Show yourselves. We mean you no harm.
We thought you were raiders.
Kill them, Papa. Cut off their heads. You said you could be 5-minute fights. That's what you said.
Be quiet, boys! I did not say that.
Maybe we are raiders. Maybe we will take you as slaves.
No! Please! Spare us!
I'm joking! Don't piss your trews. Who are these raiders you speak of?
They come often. Brigands with wild eyes and hungry bellies. They butcher our animals, steal our bread and ale. I thank Freya they have not yet taken me.
Maybe next time.
We did not know anyone lived here. Jarl Egil himself said we could make this place our own. Build a settlement.
I see no Jarl here. This is our home. You will have to find somewhere else.
Don't be so hasty, husband. It could be good to have these strong warriors here to protect us.
You would like that, wouldn't you, wife?
Well, husband, your own spear is bent and useless.
It just needs some attention, that is all.
We will move on and find another place.
No, wait. I have a proposition. If you will help us by killing these brigands who have been stealing from us, we will welcome you and help you build your home. My husband is a poor lover, but a good farmer. He will grow your grain, rear meat for your table. I am a skilled seamstress and can make your clothes, even a new sail for your boat. But first, you will deal with the brigands, yes?
You have yourselves a deal. With Odin's help, we will feed the ravens with these brigands. Then, we will see if we can make a home here.
I gotta say, I love those facial expressions.
Perhaps it was fortuitous meeting the farmer and his family. They know this land and its dangers. They will be useful in the times ahead. Gunnar looks at the forest, rich in good timber, and at the fjord, brimming with fish. He eyes the bay, imagining his own longship sitting there one day, rocking gently at its mooring. And he begins to think that this land, this gift from Jarl Egil, could be a golden thread in the weird of his life. It could be home. But first, he and his small band must test their blades and their courage. They know that you must fight for what you want. There is always a blood price to pay.
Gertrude, stay with the boat.
Listen up! Well...
Oh, right, tooltip. Bit of an awkward placement there, but hey, we're in it. Into our first exploration and combat sequence. Which, is pretty straightforward. We're essentially on a small dedicated mini-map with resources to collect and, bad guys to fight.
You might think you're heroes, but this could turn ugly fast. Keep your wits about you.
Don't you feel the thrill of it in your blood, Ar?
All I feel is that I should have had a piss the moment I stepped off the boat.
Yes, don't go into battle with a full bladder. Otherwise, you're in trouble. And here's our starting crew. Gunnar Gripson, our sword and board main. Sigrid Gripsdotter, I believe his sister, and our starting archer. Arn, our spearbreaker, rocking a two-handed axe. Asmar, our backup sword and board. And Boldi, our fledgling berserker. Though this, of course, is far from our full crew, given that this is one part colony sim, we'll be collecting a lot more allies over time, many of whom can accompany us into battle, and all of whom I believe are pre-established characters with their own backstories and personalities. There's our looting pop-up. Pretty straightforward. Most objects you loot will just be abstracted resources used for the colony management side of the game. Food, metal, textiles, etc. Though you will occasionally find rare drops for your characters to actually equip. Improved weapons and armor, or other assorted knickknacks and trinkets that can serve some practical use on the battlefield. You'll also notice I'm highlighting things. As the pop-up said, I'm doing that with left alt. But it is a bit weird because it only actually highlights these specific resource nodes, but not all interactive objects. For example, this runestone over yonder, which does still have an interaction shimmer, but does not otherwise illuminate unless we mouse over it.
Look! It is for Tyr the Brave, who loves battle. A good omen.
But yeah, you definitely want to keep an eye out for these things, since, while many are simply narrative fluff, some, like this one, will in fact give you bonuses for pending battles. In this particular case, the Blessing of Tyr, which gives you a full action point refund if you kill enemies under specific circumstances. Which, I will say now, probably isn't really going to come up anyway, regardless, because it is reliant, in this case, on the engagement system, which is a bit of a bear to get used to. So I do still kind of ignore it when it comes to these strategic skirmishes. But I'll at least try to remember to actually use it. for the sake of demonstration. But we will get to that momentarily. Let's finish making our approach.
Not exactly a long ship.
I have never known a raider stray far from his boat. Weapons ready!
So that one is obviously just narrative fluff. The tower off on left as well. They're not highlighted by left alt either. Minor quibble, but that does feel slightly inconsistent.
A lookout. We must be near.
Seems they don't like people sneaking up on them.
There's still life in that fire.
Irresponsible. Extinguish your fires, people. And there is a very clear warning. We're about to enter our first combat zone.
Back! Cut your throats! Ah! Sons! Horse!
All right, first up, deployment. This part is pretty straightforward. As you can see, we're working on a basic square grid. We simply place our people in their starting positions in the marked zone, and then from there, combat breaks down into individual initiatives by character, as displayed by the initiative tracker up top. Getting a gander at the battlefield, our current goal is to save this poor sod, who actually seems to be doing okay for himself, relatively speaking. Let's go ahead and do a very basic two-pronged assault. We'll have Gunnar backed up by Arn coming in from the left. And then Asmar and our Berserker coming out on the right. With Sigrid well off to one side. Since, of course, as a bowman, she can simply fire straight over the intervening obstacles. Oh yes, there is some difficult terrain like slippery mud, so we do have to be wary of that. Nice. Basic combat tutorial. The game uses a fairly straightforward square grid with action point system. You can see our action point counter down on bottom there, 7 points per character. The guy in front of us, you may have noticed right before this tooltip popped up, went into watch mode, which is essentially this game's equivalent of Overwatch. He is watching a specific series of surrounding tiles and preparing to attack anyone who enters them. So our options here are to either avoid those tiles and not get attacked, or to punch right through and hope for the best. So in this particular case, while Gunnar could potentially tank that shot, I think we will just avoid setting it off. Though circumventing this guy is easier said than done, since, as we can see here, we've got slippery mud, which is hazardous terrain to end on or near. So we'll head round to the right instead, see if we can go on the defensive and hopefully distract this trio.
I stand unbroken.
Nice.
Thanks.
Frenzied outcasts are on the defensive, trying to patch each other up. That buys us some time. And Arn. I was hoping to go in for an attack, but the heavy axe takes a lot of AP to swing, so we'd have to trigger that watch attack. Again, I think we'll play this cautiously. Basically make him waste that watch attack, while still getting ourselves closer to our ultimate goal. And we will set our own watch attack as well.
Eye sharp. Weapon.
Sword fame will be mine.
Asmar pushing up, stopping just shy of the watch zone. Again, setting up a watch zone of his own.
None shall break me.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that guy came in with a power swing, an area attack that would have knocked back if it had actually landed. But unfortunately for him, that went about as poorly as it possibly could have. His random acts of violence bounced off Gunnar's shield, but did not bounce off of his unfortunate ally, who is now very, very dead. But, you know, that's just what happens when you rely on random acts of violence. I prefer much more focused and precise violence myself. Speaking of which... hippity-hop.
I'll make a feast for crows.
Nice, nice. Target's half down. Let's take him out. Lovely. Oh, and he dropped a throwing spear. Which are a bit weird because... Oof. Hang in there, bud. You got this. Oh, and also I don't like that. Okay, that is the engagement system. We could not stop him from moving because we did not actually engage with him. We were base to base, but engagement is a special action, number 4 on our hotbar there, which actually engages what I believe they call home gang, where 2 characters square off against each other, fully focused on each other, to the exclusion of the people around them. On the one hand, it means that they get attacks of opportunity whenever the person that they're engaged with attempts to do anything that isn't a direct attack against them. However, the downside is that it also makes you much more vulnerable to other people attacking you, because you're, of course, distracted. In this particular case, it would have been an ideal way to lock down a squishy archer, if not for the fact that we had a bunch of friendly allies within striking distance, who could just intervene on her behalf. Let's go ahead and clear this midfield guard. Yeah, a full-on single-target swing would have probably killed her, but we didn't have enough AP, so we had to go for the weaker wide swing instead, much like that other guy who clipped his teammate. Alright. Alright. Let's go ahead and keep this guy locked. We'll move in and engage. That'll force him to focus on our off-shield men. Let's go ahead and grab this sphere. Might as well. And yeah, these, I think I was saying it before, but these are a bit weird because they're not full-fledged inventory items. They're more single-use interactive battlefield pickups. Nice. Yeah, see, that hit a lot harder than it normally would because he was engaged and thus distracted.
I follow where you lead.
Which actually means we can now just go ahead and finish him off. But yeah, with throwing weapons, you'll see once this fight's over that we won't be able to interact with them anymore. They'll still be on the field, but because there's no fight in progress, we can't pick them up, we can't store them for later. They are just there specifically to give us tactical options. Nice. During an active fight. Which is a bit more abstract than I'd like, but, you know, it's certainly not the weirdest quirk I've seen in a turn-based tactical game. Personally, I'd prefer to just have a belt full of throwing axes or a quiver of throwing spears, as opposed to single-use pickups. And we're good.
My name is Gomer. These rancid turds are slavers. I was traveling with amber traders when they attacked our boat. They have taken others like me. Men and women who are destined for misery and pain. Will you help me weave them a different fate?
You know what? I think we can do that, Gormer. And welcome aboard. Nice work out there. Really held your own. And yeah, now you can see the field is festooned with single-use throwing spears that we can no longer interact with. Though we do have at least one actual pickup, a rabbit's foot, which I don't believe we can actually actively equip right now. I think we have to do that from the colony screen, but still good to have. Berry bushes are a quick heal item. We've got 3 patches here, which is more than we need, but we'll go ahead and top off. Slight oddity there is that injuries do carry over to the settlement building mode as well, where it takes characters time to recover, but if you use the berries here, it reduces that recovery time since it is purely based on whatever their health is at the end of a skirmish. At least in this demo. I should of course stress this is an inherently unfinished demo. A lot could change before actual launch.
If you know what's good for you, you'll get back on that boat and row for the horizon.
Do you think we'd run from the likes of you?
So be it. We'll get a good price for these fuckers, if there's any left alive!
Alright, flight number 2. Definite stiffer resistance this time out. Though a bit less so on the right side, where we've just got these shieldless mooks, as opposed to left side, which is 2 shieldmen and a heavy. And of course our big guy in back, Birgir the Bastard. And I'm thinking our best bet here is to kind of ignore the left to start, since that's more hardened targets, and just go full tilt on right instead. Try to punch through these softer targets as quickly as possible. You know, clear as many of the squishier foes first, before the tougher guys get tucked in. But we'll play it by ear. Here we go. Birgir hanging back. Leading from the rear with a group buff. Ferocity, that's plus 50% damage for 1 round.
I will wade in the blood tide.
Which is kind of wasted, considering most of these guys will have to use their full first round just getting to us. Also, their spearman has immediately overextended. So we'll go ahead and isolate him. Engagement is a very useful tool, but it has to be carefully set up so as not to leave yourself open to taking extra damage while you're distracted. So in this particular case, we'll have Gunner kind of cork up this one gap here, whilst the rest of our guys focus down the spearmen. Ooh. You good there, Gormer? That looked painful. Let's go ahead and knock the spearman off balance. He set himself up right across from the wagon tongue, so that's easily accomplished. Nice, yes.
I spin my saga.
Yeah, shoving people into things is a pretty major part of this game's strategy. Which I really do love, you know. It really makes the fights feel a bit more dynamic. To have that sort of battlefield interactivity, or to just, you know, gang up on someone and shove them back and forth between yourselves like a bunch of schoolyard bullies. Oh, snap. I did not realize you could just jump over it, but I guess that does make sense. From that side, it wouldn't really be dangerous. Noted. Guys, we could use some palisade over here. Spear has a range of 2, so we can strike from a distance. We also have Warcry, which could give our own guys ferocity. Though range is single tile, so... yeah, let's do this.
Show me who to kill.
Has been getting slightly overwhelmed, but I think we're okay for the moment. Let's knock this guy out. Can't push between the friendlies, but thankfully Boldy does have a special leap move. Oh, wow, okay. Instant flanking, we'll take it. Big guy moving back in.
I will stand with you.
Gunner still holding the north. Let's drop the brute. And backline clear. Let's slow this guy down too. Delay his entry into the fight. Nice, nice. And let's toss down a mark. All right, let's thin these guys out. With that mark, we're pretty much guaranteed to clear the spear. Hey, we got a spear drop too.
Valhalla awaits.
Gunner's up. Let's go ahead and whittle down the big guy. This will make him vulnerable. Nice. And we could push him. No real benefit to that, though. No, we'll just stay on the defensive, keep holding that choke point.
None shall break me.
I fear no man.
Keep holding left. Honestly, we are in a very good position now, because Sigrid and Gormer can both attack over the palisade. Hold and hold.
Let them come.
And Gormer. On your left. Ooh, nice. Boo! But you know what, that's fine. 3 damage is still pretty good. Oh, hey, well, whoa. You alright, bud?
What is your will?
Okay, well, we've lost containment, but, we can actually work with this. Are you still alive? I mean, technically, you should be dead. Alright, well, I mean... I'm not sure that was supposed to play out quite that way, but... we'll get Boldy on that just in case.
Let us feed the raven.
Birgir rallying the rest of his men, and... oh, wow. Okay, so you went straight through the wagon tongue.
I was born for war.
I guess much like the palisade, you can go through it, you just can't stop on it. And yeah, I think this guy's dead. I think he just kind of glitched when he got killed by the reflex attack. Again, this is technically an alpha. Wow, Sigrid. That war cry has turned you into a bit of a monster. Sigrid and Gormir make a pretty formidable tag team.
I fear no man.
Okay, good. I figured blocking off the other side of the tongue would prevent him from passing through. So now we can knock him off balance and keep him contained. Birgir locked. Guard up. Oof. Oh, gosh. Alright, Gormir's in some slight trouble there. Let's push this guy into the palisade. Oh, wow, that was way more effective than I was expecting. Though, you know what? I guess pushing someone onto a palisade would have that effect. Even if it was technically the wrong side of the palisade.
Now we settle this in blood.
Oh, you jerk. Leave Gormir alone. Yeah, so the palisade broke as well. Like, I saw it fall over. I just didn't really register that it was completely cleared, so to speak. I figured it was still obstructing terrain. That said, I think we're fine. Live by the engagement, die by the engagement. Let's clear the archer. Nice. Arn moving in. Single target, swing. Fall back.
Everyone to me! Kill these fuckers! I will stand with you.
Who are you talking to? All your friends are dead. Alright, let's wrap this up. This has actually gone really well for us, minus, I suppose, poor Gormir getting turned into a pincushion.
I was born for war. No more words, only war.
And you know what? Let's go ahead and get Gormir patched. Sigrid's got some bandages. Might as well make use of them. Boldy will swing in on the left, but not engage yet. Gormer patched. At the very least, that's reduced recovery time. Arn coming in. Go for knockback. Schoolyard bully time.
Cut them all loose. It is not their weir to be slaves.
Indeed. Nicely done, guys. I'd say this Birgir done got et. But yeah, so even though they do use some awkward abstracts, you know, the whole throwing weapon system, the engagement system, I really do appreciate the depth of tactical options that they kind of put at your fingertips here. Positioning is extremely key. The Palisade really surprised me too. I did not realize they had that much nuance to them. The destructibility, the increased damage for pushing people into them. The fact that you could roll over them from one side but not the other. I just assumed it was standard impassable terrain.
I am in your debt.
And I think we're good? I was kind of expecting a cutscene. Do we have an exit? Oh, okay, no. We hold down Enter to end the current quest. Slightly awkward, but that's fine. Gives us a chance to go grab these last few berries. Which puts Gormer back at max. All right. You stay out of trouble now, you hear? Oh, hey. So you can get carryable throwing weapons. Albeit ones with limited use. Okay, so 3-use throwing axe. Which does again kind of beg the question of why we can't just pick up the single-use battlefield features for later use, but I guess it's not that big a deal. I've certainly seen weirder. And welcome aboard Gormer, who definitely earned his keep. Though I will also say, in looking at this, I know there's supposed to be like a character customization system in this game. I feel like they're still all hard set, predefined characters though, because they all have their own stories, voices, and cutscenes, etc. I suppose we'll see where that lands at launch. Maybe with like the non-cutscene characters like Hardstein here, even though he also has a unique backstory and character traits. Or Dis, our new huntress, with Blessed and Cautious. Honestly, it's hard to say since I think the customization system's completely beyond the scope of the current demo. Speaking of which, sadly, I think that's also it for the combat content of the demo, but let's see what we've got next.
Blood has been spilt, blades and courage tested. Gunnar finds himself with some new companions, good people who would have had a poor end if not for him. But this means more mouths to feed, more heads in need of a roof above them. So, now back to the farmer and his family, for they must make good on the bargain struck. Food, clothes, all this and more. They must all work together and for each other. Gunnar thinks of the blacksmiths he has seen twisting rods of iron together to craft the finest blades. Well, these people are the iron rods. This land is the forge, and Gunnar must be the smith.
We are in your debt, Gunnar Gripson. I raise my cup to you and your sister.
How many of them did you kill?
Arne! It is rude to ask a man how many men he has killed.
Yes, Gunnar, you have saved us. Those monsters would have put their foul hands all over my body and done unspeakable things.
How were you all taken? You do not strike me as thralls.
No one is safe from these slavers. They'll put irons on any man, woman, child, or dog they can find. They would have sold us to those fetid, blood-drunk murderers, the Sons of the Wolf.
The Sons of the Wolf?
Half men, half beasts. They come from the north, hungry for sacrifices to appease their wolf god.
I have seen them with my own eyes. Savage creatures, spawned from Helheim itself. They live in thrall to a cruel Volva whom they call Wolf Mother.
If you had not saved us, we would have ended up hanging like joints of meat in their sacred grove.
That was not your fate. You need not fear these Sons of the Wolf or this Volva, for you are safe here with us. Any who wish to may stay. Help us build a settlement in this place.
No, you don't understand. This is no place to make a home. The Sons of the Wolf cannot be reasoned with. We must all leave tonight. Get far away from here.
Are we birds to be scattered by a noisy hound? There is strength in numbers. Together we will prosper. By Odin. I mean to start work on the Longhouse in the morning.
There is something about you, Gunnar Gripson. Perhaps it is the favor of the gods that I sense. I will stand with you and help you build this village. What is it called?
A good question. Alti, what is the name of this place?
Well, there are 2 bays along this stretch of the coast that could easily harbor all of Jarl Egil's longships. The Vik to the north is more exposed to the sea's fury in bad weather. So, we settled here. And we call it Sudervik.
That is as good a name as any. To Sudervik. And our future here.
To Sudervik!
Yeah. We're just into the early game colony management now. All right, let's get this settled. And I will say, this is the part of the game I am, of course, slightly less confident about. And I will say, from what I've seen, it's definitely not a full-fledged colony sim. You're not actually doing, like, the layouts and everything. Rather, it's more like the Hamlet from Darkest Dungeon. Progression is largely preset. You're mostly just deciding what order to do things in.
Gunnar! Do you expect our new friends to lie looking up at the stars night after night? We should make enough shelters for everyone, just here, around the farm. This place will soon start to feel like home. You'll see.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to take things down like 3 notches, especially if we're going to keep calling my guy Gunnar. That said, we've now unlocked our first colony project, as well as some basic colony functionality. Though, I don't think it's all accessible just yet. I think they kind of unlock it piecemeal as we work through. I do see herdman customization there. I'm just not sure. Yeah, we don't actually have a tab for it yet, so... Again, that could easily be outside the scope of the current demo. But let's go ahead and get that first project set. See what else unlocks. And this is fairly straightforward. Generally speaking, each project requires some basic resources and then usually at least one rare resource or prerequisite structure. After which there's a requisite construction time, a number of turns, before the facility or upgrade is complete. Though, in this particular case, we just have something very simple, the makeshift camp. With oiled canvas being our one rare component required, but one which we have relatively easy access to. More basic resources, with the main catch here being that constructing this will tie up one of our limited number of seamstresses. Something which is no problem now, but which is likely to become more of an issue later down the line, as projects become inherently more complex. For now, though, they are starting us off very easy, so we'll get this makeshift camp going. That'll take 1 turn to complete. Yeah, and they haven't really even given us anything to do with our other craftsmen. They haven't even unlocked most of them yet. They're just not relevant at this particular stage of the tutorial. So, let's hurry up and wait. We need to pass 1 day. Yeah, nothing going on out here. The makeshift camp is coming together beautifully, with the framework almost complete and ready for the next steps. I spotted a big man coming this way, pushing a handcart with a squeaky wheel that looked ready to fall off. He sings like a bull with a bellyache, and I caught the reek of old ale on the breeze. In the south, Carolus, king of the Franks, whom some call Charlemagne, is slaughtering all those who will not bend the knee to his Christian god. Oof, harsh, but yeah, that is a thing that happened. The makeshift camp is complete. Just look what we can do if we put our backs into it. Nice. Which now unlocks basic seamstress crafting. That's for more generic equipment, basic armor and such. Also, new projects available. Master Loom Haul, Large Loom, and Drop Spindles. All loom themed, it would seem. Let's give those a gander. Master Loom Haul. Required for advanced crafting. Which requires that we have a structure ready to put it in, which we do not have. Yeah. We can't even get started on it yet since we don't have any fish oil at the moment. That, I believe, is a resource gathered by fishermen, which, again, we don't currently have. But even if we did, we would then also need a sinew shredder and polished bone needles, which we also lack. So alas, advanced crafting remains beyond our grasp, at least for the time being. Though we can do a large loom, as well as the drop spindles, both of which unlock additional seamstress actions, essentially how many things our seamstresses can do per turn. So we'll go ahead and get both of those going. And speaking of seamstresses, let's go ahead and swing by ours. Check out the basic crafting system, which again is fairly straightforward. It just requires a free seamstress and appropriate supplies.
See me. How can I please you today?
Oh yeah, in fact, right there. It's kind of explaining what I've been trying to put into words myself. The whole camp worksite system. But the short of it is basically that whenever you take an action, such as crafting an item like these, that requires one of your camp workers, they are no longer available for the rest of that particular turn, and they will not contribute towards harvesting additional resources at the end of that turn.
Beautifully.
So you've got to strike a balance. You want to up your arsenal, but you also want to make sure that you're still bringing in resources. In our case, we'll just do up a couple of hats. And then that'll leave 2 seamstresses free to instead craft extra fiber, partially replenish what we just used. And then we've got our herdmen. So let's go ahead and run through that. And pretty basic level up system. You know, you've got 2 tracks per character with a partially randomized list of various abilities. And then we can also update their gear loadouts while we're here, which we will go ahead and do with some of the new items we just picked up. If I can remember how to do it. Oh, here we go. Okay. Slightly awkward, but not too bad. Also, we've already got those hats done. I figured we'd have to wait a turn. Looking good, Gunner. And then we've also got these accessories. We'll worry about that later. Let's go ahead and knock out that level up. We've got 2 abilities to choose from. Berserk, which increases damage done but also received. And Embolden, which restores 2 health, grants ferocity, and removes prone. And I've got to say, that sounds pretty good to me. We will follow the path of the leader. Then we have Sigrid Gripstadter, our hunter, who can choose between Leap, like Boldy has, or Mighty Shot, an armor-piercing shot that also inflicts knockback, which we will take. And while we're here, we'll go ahead and toss her... Oh, okay. I thought we might need to give her replacement bandages, but it looks like they, I guess, reset between fights. But we will go ahead and toss her that rabbit's foot while we're here. A very modest bump to reflexes, keeps her slightly safer in combat. Next up, Arn, our Spear Breaker, who can either take Hammer, a powerful delayed attack with a chance to inflict prone, or Iron Will, inflict fixated on adjacent enemies and gain 3 temporary armor. Essentially a taunt move, which we will take. I like the potential utility there. I mean, knocking people prone is also pretty tempting, but it's very reliant on the RNG. I prefer something that's a bit more reliable. For Asmar, our backup shieldman, he can either take Iron Will or Trading Blows. Swap position and engagement with target ally. A very interesting but also very situational ability. Iron Will feels a bit more flexible, I think. And Boldy, our Berserker, who of course can either take Berserk, which we saw on Gunner, or Wolffang, a low damage armor piercing attack that inflicts high bleed, which, for me at least, definitely seems like the more appealing of the 2. And then we'll go ahead and toss him our other hat while we're here. Plus, I suppose we'll dole out the rest of those utility items. Reflex Cap for Boldy makes him slightly harder to hit. And then we'll also toss him the throwing axe, why not? He does seem the sort. Oh yeah, and then Gormer, who I guess didn't get any XP, unfortunately, since he technically joined mid-mission. And also has no equipment. So yeah, that's definitely something you'd want to take into account when you're playing the full game, to make sure you get all these other new recruits properly equipped before you send them out into the field. Also, I just realized they don't have any utility slots. So perhaps it's level dependent. Which completes all our current tasks, so let's hurry up and wait. Sometimes I look forward to a harsh winter, when I can bring 1 or 2 of my favorite cows into the house. They appreciate old Holty. Sure. Whatever makes you happy, man. A man on his way to visit family in Kaupang has spoken of a place in the woods to the north, where the dead hang in the trees like rancid fruit, and men have become as beasts. Sure, sure. We've been collecting swan and goose feathers to make the fletchings for Sigrid's arrows. We even found some eagle's feathers in a high nest. And new project unlocked, Longhouse Construction, which also grants access to the village standing system. Sort of a combo morale / efficiency sort of gauge, I guess. Though I believe outside the scope of the current demo. And a special event, The Struggling Stranger. Likely the guy Holty mentioned to us yesterday.
The fairest one I ever saw, a thing of grace and pure delight. I lay her on my anvil stone, and hammer day and night. Hey, you! Come here and help me with this.
Greetings, stranger. That cart has seen better days.
Tell me about it. The axle is broken. I need a forge to fix it.
You'll have no luck here. We are newly settled in this place, and have no smith.
No smith? What kind of asshole place is this? Do you at least have somewhere a weary traveler can rest his bones? And maybe get a drink?
We have a barn. If you stay out of trouble, you can sleep there.
That'll do nicely. You aren't so bad. Damned cart. Made by Loki himself. The fairest one I ever saw.
Well, I mean, I'd wager that's our first blacksmith. Really feels like they telegraphed that pretty clearly. And a new request. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Little Magpie. Gunnar, your tongue has been working harder than your sword. Come, when was the last time we trained like we used to? Let us see if our new companions can tell a spear's point from its haft. Choose some warriors and let's put them to the test.
What's wrong, brother? Holty's ox moves faster than you.
Moo!
Gunnar! Gunnar! In the woods. I was just having some alone time, and I heard a cry and the clash of swords.
Did you not go and investigate, brave husband?
Well, of course. I have come to fetch my spear, wife. I mean, would you have me confront armed men without a blade of my own? And there it is. Now, I can investigate. Want to come with me? No, you're not too busy. Please come with me.
Only if we won't get in the way of that mighty spear of yours.
Of course not. Hey, I'll show you my tracking skills. Teach you the ways of the forest.
Ha! More like the ways of the pig trough. That's all you know, husband.
You know, I will say that's a bit awkward. I feel like they may have laid it on a bit thick with Holty and his wife there. But it's interesting, though, because, like, well, it's definitely over the top. I've got to really give it to them on, like, facial expressions, body language, just general line delivery as well, though I think it's really the expressions and the body language that sell it. Which, you know, I think is also what kind of enhances the discomfort that comes from watching those two going at it. You know, it always feels like they're maybe like one step shy of a full-on domestic. Though to be fair, I have known some folks who just have that kind of relationship with their significant other. Not because they dislike each other, but just because they love teasing each other. And or provoking reactions from the people around them. That said, I think we're done. I ran through the demo once before, and I want to say this is where it comes to an end, unfortunately, but let's see. And yes, that is indeed the end, at least for now. Which is fair, because I do think it gave us a pretty decent taste of both the skirmish side of things and the settlement side of things, though probably more the former than the latter. Obviously, they only really showed us the very, very early settlement setup, without getting into much of the meat, though we at least get the general gist. That said, although this is a bit outside of my usual wheelhouse, I do like this one. If I had any real quibbles, it would be some of the more abstract elements. You know, I do feel, again, that they might have benefited more from focusing on just one genre or another rather than hybridizing two together. But, you know, what we've seen thus far still feels pretty decent, especially the skirmish side of things. Aside from that, I'd also say I'd love to see more in the way of player agency. Though, you know, that's not as huge a deal, because I think it is pretty clear just from the full voiceover, the fairly well done cinematics. You know, I really, again, love the facial expressions, the body language. It really helped with the immersion and investment in the various characters. I do think it's pretty clear that they have a very specific story they want to tell, and the player is largely just along for the ride on that. You know, your part in the story is just facilitating getting from point A to point B, not so much in deciding the ultimate course of the story. Which is fine. A well-told story is still easy to get invested in. And although our exposure to them was fairly limited, I do like Gunnar and his sister Sigrid. I do like Holty and his socially awkward family. Plus our new drunk blacksmith we didn't really get to spend much time with. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing where this one lands at launch. But, of course, that is simply my opinion. Feel free to let me know your own thoughts in the comments down below, and of course, if you'd like to go check out the game yourself, then I will include some links in the description down below. I believe that the demo should still be available as of the moment I'm recording this. And, of course, if you would perhaps like to see me revisit this one once we're out closer towards launch, then feel free to let me know that as well. I think this one's got a lot of promise, so who knows? If there's enough demand, perhaps I'll see you then.